What do we think of the look? Is the makeup giving Janice? It better be. I literally recreated one of the looks from the movie.
This video was formed in front of a live ostrich.
Hi, so I do remember saying that my channel was going to become a music-based channel, but I watched the new Mean Girls last week. I also saw the original for the first time last week, and I'm like obsessed with it. So now I want to share my thoughts on it. Hi, I forgot to mention this, but I feel like it should be implied. Spoilers? Don't watch if you don't want to get spoiled for the new Mean Girls movie. And getting hit by a bus! I have watched this movie 3 times at this point, and I always just think that that part is funny. So I actually forgot to mention this in my notes, but I think just like the transition from vertical to the widescreen is neat. I don't think there was any other way they could have done that kind of transition. It was like they started out recording a phone video and they want to transition it to the widescreen. Like they kind of have to have it go like that, but I thought it was neat. And I say this because in my notes I put that the transition from Katie being in Africa to the walkway up to the high school, I thought that was really neat too. I feel like a lot of people shit on Ngauri's singing, and I don't think it's that bad. I thought she was a good singer, and this is a very, very specific note, but in What Ifs, the way that she goes, no what if, no what ifs. I don't know, I like that. I like it, okay? I binge watched Mean Girls interviews after the first time that I watched this movie. I saw it in theaters first. It's not something I normally do. I normally find them on a weird website. I don't go to the theaters often, but I got to see this one in the theaters. And I found out that the scene where Katie couldn't find a seat in the classroom, so she just sat on the floor, was improvised, and that's iconic. Okay, I probably shouldn't shit a lot on Katie as a character because she lived in Africa all of her life. How old is she? 16? She lived in Africa for 16 years. But telling the teacher,
I need to urinate.
Okay? Did people ever actually eat lunch in the bathroom at school? Like, I was a loner at lunch in high school. One time a TikTok I made went viral, and somebody from my school found the video and they said, I know you. You're the girl who sits alone at lunch with the iPad. So I know what it's like, but I was always able to find my own table. I was about to say like, oh, some people eat lunch with a teacher that they trust, but obviously this was Katie's first day. She couldn't have done that. But like, did anyone ever actually eat lunch in the bathroom? That just seems like a movie trope that I've never heard happen in real life. Obviously, this isn't much of a surprise, but I am in love with Ali E's makeup throughout the whole movie. I wanted to recreate a different one of her looks, but this was the only one that I could really find a good clear image of that I could recreate. I think she does a couple looks with like blues and purples and gems and fun eyeliner, but it's just like I couldn't find a good enough picture in HD to get like the right colors. And I know it's like, oh, you don't like have to do the right colors, but I wanted to. I'm pretty sure she said in an interview that she did her own makeup for this movie, and I love that. I love that she was able to like do her own fun looks for this kind of fun character who's against normal clean girl makeup vibes. It's just like a lot of who I am when it comes to my makeup, so I kind of resonate with that. I put on a Twitter poll which one of the plastics would I be, but I think I know full well that I would 100% just be Janice, which is fine. I love Janice. You cannot tell me that Katie isn't a little bit fruity. Look at the way she looks at Regina. Also, this scene was the first time that Renee Rapp appeared on the screen. I literally, and I'm not even kidding, I'm not being dramatic here, I almost cried. Did I know who this woman was before this movie? Not really. I was like aware of her, but I didn't really know anything about her or anything. Am I in love with this woman? Yes. She could ruin my life and I would apologize. So I kind of knew a little bit about the musical. I haven't watched any slime tutorials of the musical, but a lot of the songs from the musical have blown up on TikTok. And one of the songs was Meet the Plastics, and I think it's like a bridge or something where all of the plastics sing at the same time.
On Wednesdays we wear pink. Miss Regina, no Regina. Every waking hour I tell you about Regina. George can stay in power if Regina is the sun. Then I'm a disco ball 'cause I'm just as rare and fun. If you had alcohol.
So I'm like a little upset that they didn't put that in the movie. I don't know how they would have made that fit, but it's just kind of like a little bit upsetting that that song just turned into an intro for Regina George. I don't know if it's the same in the original musical, but did they rhyme power with Chihuahua?
Like drunk with power. Like
this shit confused me. So again, I probably should have watched a slime tutorial of the musical before I made this video, so I'm a little ignorant when it comes to that, but I'm kind of comparing it to the original movie here. Why did they move the scenes around so it was basically Regina was just like, hey you, come here, instead of like interrupting her when, what's his name? Jason? You know, Jason came up to her and was like, I can guess any girl's bra size when they jump once. And then she was like, you know, back off.
Do you want to have sex with him? Oh, no thank you.
In the movie, that was like a way for them to like, it made sense. She was just kind of standing there and Regina was like, hey, come here. I don't know. I didn't understand that. Like, why did they move that around? Did it make more sense in the stage production? I don't know. I don't know why, but the guy who plays Aaron looks so familiar to me. And I just looked up his IMDb before this. I haven't seen him in anything else, so I just know that he looks like someone, but I can't put my finger on it. When I watched this movie in the theater, I thought it was Doug from Bearings, and now that I watched it again, I'm like, that can't be it. The bridge of Stupid with Love makes me think like that would be like my lesbian awakening. I am filled with calculus. Does this guy work out? He must. All sweaty at the gym. Like, I would just like, no, that image could not be more hot. Wait, no, that image could be a lot more hot. Huh? Accidentally out myself as straight. That's not what I meant. When Regina goes, can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
I would pass out. Tiffany Rock being a simp for Renee Rapp for an hour. Renee Rapp and Ali Carvalho had my full attention for that hour and 40 something minutes. Women. Have you ever seen a woman? This is gonna make like no sense, but when Janice says, I'm not joking, be careful.
I'm not joking. Be careful.
That doesn't sound grammatically correct. It is. It just doesn't sound, it just doesn't sound right in my opinion. Apex Predator is top 3 songs on this soundtrack. But what was with the diss at Janice mid-song? Oh, Janice is great, but she can't do what Regina does. She can't make people cower in fear at her. Like, what was that diss for? It's because I'm pretty sure in the Broadway version of Apex Predator, it's sung by Katie. It's not sung by Damien, because it's sung by a girl. So I feel like it just makes a little bit more sense in Katie's point of view. So I think it makes a little bit more sense now. I get it now. When Regina says get in loser. Ah! Women! Literally women. Anyway, I made a TikTok about the product placement in this movie, and I was specifically talking about e.l.f., which I'll get to that later. It blew up. And a lot of the comments made me realize that there was product placement that I just completely missed. Not that I didn't realize it was there, but more that I didn't realize it was product placement. Like the Spotify playlist, I didn't think anything of it. Like, I don't know, like friends just make Spotify playlists for each other. It didn't connect in my mind that Spotify probably paid for that. I'm pretty sure Tina Fey said in an interview something along the lines of like,
it's like for me, the physical burn book always had this kind of evil power, and I didn't want it to just be like, it's an Instagram account. It's like because I was like, oh, we've seen that. Like this idea that there was this physical thing that then, you know, explodes because of social.
And I'm so glad that they kept it a physical thing, because I really feel like that helps make it feel more like symbolic and powerful. I don't know, that goes into actual analysis territory. I'm just here to brain rot. The do you like gum scene makes my skin crawl.
Do you like gum?
Sure.
Oh, I don't have any. I was just...
I think part of it is because I'm an awkward person. I wouldn't ask someone if they like gum, but like those awkward interactions that Katie had with Aaron are like, I get like secondhand embarrassment because I know what it's like to say something awkward and then realize that what I'm saying is awkward, and it's like, when characters do something awkward or something that would make them feel embarrassed, I just get that secondhand embarrassment and I like cringe. I'm an empath. Like on October 3rd he asked me what day it was. So like I said, I made a TikTok about the product placement in this movie and it blew up and people were saying shit. Somebody said there were like a shit ton of TikTok references in this movie. Where? The closest thing I saw to a TikTok reference is that they were kind of using TikTok. I don't think they made it like blatantly obvious they were using TikTok, but like the social media UI, like the display was very obviously TikTok. I worded this wrong. Like, the overlays, like it makes it look like they're on TikTok, but it wasn't like blatantly saying they're on TikTok. It's like something that you kind of had to infer, but it was very easily able to infer, you know? Does that make any sense? But I wouldn't consider that a TikTok reference. Like, when I think of TikTok reference, I think you're like referencing a TikTok trend. And I didn't see any of that. I don't think I even saw that in the dances, in the choreography in this movie. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't see any of that. Oh, I get that Gretchen's thing is like spilling everybody's secrets, but man, she cracks so easily. Gretchen couldn't think of anything else to say besides Katie likes Aaron. How about they're in the same calculus class? I don't know. So there was a bit in the original movie where Regina was talking to Aaron, and she's like, she writes Mrs. Aaron Samuels all over her notebook, and she has a shirt that says I Heart Aaron, and she wears it under all of her clothes. That scene bothered me a little bit. Probably rightfully so, like that's kind of what it was supposed to do because she was trying to bother Aaron a little bit. But I feel like because they changed it, the scene is like a little bit awkward because Regina's just kind of like, I didn't realize this would be so hard for me. I just have all this unresolved trauma and like, don't talk to me. And it's like, where did that come from, you know? I know she was like trying to play a bit to get him back. Like, I understand, but at the same time I don't. Like, I feel like it was just kind of like, how do we connect Regina telling Aaron that Katie likes him to someone gets hurt? How are we gonna connect them so that it flows together? Another product placement that someone mentioned that I literally just did not notice at all was the Cheetos. Like, people were saying that these were obvious, but I feel like unless you're like thinking and like spying for product placement, then they're not that obvious.
There I am, Gary, there I am.
I expected when they like snapped out of the revenge party like daydream thing, like there's a scene where in the daydream she's like kissing Aaron. I expected them to like snap out of it and she'd be like, I don't know, kissing a lamp or something. And then I realized that they literally did that exact bit earlier in the movie in Stupid with Love. Ever since I watched, maybe it was the original movie, but maybe it was the new one, I've been trying to convince myself that I could pull off playing Regina George. Even though I'm not a theater kid, like, there would be no scenario where I would actually be playing Regina George. For some reason, it's just because I want to do this scene that's like, you look sexy with your hair pushed back. Katie, can you tell him he looks sexy with his hair pushed back? Like, I don't know what it is about that scene.
I can't even watch when she touches his hair, and I watched a snake eat a cow.
Regina needs to be thoughtful. Sorry, Gretchen, I swear we'll get our party now.
Honestly, I don't think that part was as bad in the movie than it is the actual soundtrack. Which doesn't make sense, but I don't know, there's just something, it's different in the movie. Glen Coco, Glen Coco, Glen Coco. Did you guys know that, I don't know if the whole line was specifically because of it, but Glen Coco is Tina Fey's brother's friend. So I think she said this in the same interview that I mentioned earlier.
You go Glen Coco because it's just my brother's friend name, and like I feel like my brother's. I was like, when I was writing the movie the first time, I was just like using random names, and it's just like my brother's friend, and I've ruined his life. Oh, no.
Obviously, Regina doesn't give a shit about Aaron. She's just trying to sabotage Katie. I get that, but the way he opens the door to see him cheating on her, she just kind of like strikes a pose and then shuts the door? Are you kidding? But also, did this bitch really think that Aaron was gonna see his girlfriend cheating on him, turn around and just fucking kiss someone else? I swore a lot in that sentence. I didn't need to do that. I'm sorry. What was she expecting? The way that she like smiled at him when Regina closed the door and he like looked over at her? That's like evil. The scene when Regina gets a pimple and she's like, ah, and then she turns around and she's still fucking gorgeous because it's Renee Rapp reminds me of the scene in Barbie where Barbie's like, I'm not stereotypical Barbie pretty. And then the narrator is like, note to the filmmakers, Margot Robbie was the wrong person to cast if you wanted to prove this point. Some people argued that they made Karen too dumb, and I'm not necessarily agreeing with that point. But when she says, somebody told Aaron about Regina and Aiden, or whatever the fuck his name was, do you think it was Santa Claus? That definitely supports that argument. Damien singing the iCarly theme song in French sends me. When I saw it in the theater, I didn't realize it was the iCarly theme song until after the principal said that's what it was. Why did they change the dance from Jingle Bell Rock to Rockin' Around the Pole.
Oh, Tiffany, they changed it for the Broadway adaptation.
Why did they change it for that too? Why did they change it in the first place? Is my question. I don't understand why everyone just immediately turns on Regina. They go from pulling on her sleeve, humping her leg like a chihuahua or whatever the fuck she says, to she's such a bitch. She got what she deserved because she fell on stage. I just don't understand that plot line. Like, I just don't understand how, like, everyone was all of a sudden like, oh, she's such a bitch. But, like, Katie, though, like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. Oh my god, this scene.
What's that lip color?
Oh, it's Elf Face.
No, amazing. Yeah, I was just making sure your ears still worked.
Everyone was saying the way that Katie gave the full government name of this lipstick, like, that's a little weird. Like, the product placement in this scene was like really weird. She did not give the full government name of the lipstick. If we want to get specific here, I'm going to be a beauty nerd for a second. I feel like the full government name of the lipstick would be the Elf O-Face Satin Lip in whatever shade she was using. And she said, it's Elf O-Face in. And that's all she got to say before Damien interrupts her again. So, if anything, that'd be like the first name of the lipstick. That'd be like saying, my name is Tiffany, then cutting me off, and then saying I gave my full government name. Like, sure, maybe it's a weird line for a movie, but I don't think it's very far-fetched for teenagers to be having that conversation, in my opinion.
That's my opinion!
This is a critique of the movie and the musical and the musical movie. There definitely could have been a way to make the art show and a party work. Obviously that'd make too much sense and we couldn't have a plot line, but I'm just saying realistically, she could have gone to the art show and then had the party after. I'm so worried this video is gonna like reach outside of my regular audience and people are gonna be like, you didn't get this movie and it shows. Very common small get-together turned party trope.
It's just gonna be a few cool people.
Okay. This is probably the scene in the movie and the musical and the musical adaptation. I can't really say the musical because I haven't seen the musical, but I'm sure it's very close to the movie musical that I am pissed about. I need to get on my soapbox. I need to talk my shit. And again, this is probably one of those scenarios where it's like, that would make too much sense. Like, that wouldn't drive the plot forward. But Katie did not have to fail math to pretend to be stupid to talk to Aaron. You know, fail a test or two, but don't let it ruin your grade and then be like, hey, Aaron, could you maybe tutor me? And then as couple weeks go by, make your tests get a little bit better, tell Aaron, hey, you're helping me understand. So I think your tutoring's working and I think we need to keep doing it. You know, like, just because I've gotten better at singing doesn't mean I stopped doing lessons with Josh. You know, if anything, like, doing tutoring with Aaron and still failing your tests shows that he's not being a good tutor. And she's doing all of this for a guy. I would get it for Regina or Janice, but that is a man. And then Aaron goes, why wouldn't you just talk to me? Did you see what happened when she tried?
Do you like gum?
Do you like gum? I think a lot of people will agree with me when I say this. Katie saying, it's not my fault you're like obsessed with me or something, will never hit as hard as, it's not my fault you're like in love with me or something. I understand like they couldn't really do that because in this plot line, Regina at least was an ally at some point. So the whole like you're in love with me thing doesn't make as much sense, but just doesn't hit as hard. I sent Josh, which I should probably mention in case this video does get past my regular audience. Josh is my vocal coach and the singer of my favorite band, and I love him. Okay. I sent him the link to Worldbird and I'm like, do you think I could pull off a cover of this song? Be honest. And then like the next day I realized that I probably couldn't because me, an insecure, self-conscious little pile of dirt trying to pull off a character who's the shit and knows it would be very difficult. Except earlier in the video I say that I would like to play Regina George. Girl, make up your mind. I'm probably still gonna try though. I don't like the you wrote this simply because, and you can quote this, is so funny.
And you can quote this. You wrote this.
The extra who got to break the fourth wall during the scene where everyone was like apologizing.
Shuna,
I'm sorry I said you were dragging during Revenge Party. There was just like so much pressure on us to move the story forward through montage, like, you know how it
is iconic. How did they get to like decide who was doing that? Because there were so many extras in this movie. I just put the thought in my head that that might not be an extra and it's an actor that I just don't know about. So if it's not an extra, please don't be mean to me about it. I have mixed opinions on how I'd Rather Be Me ends right when Regina gets hit by the bus, because it's like, it's kind of interesting that it's like the focus is on Janice while that happens, but also like the getting hit by the bus scene is like a pivotal part of this movie. Damien even says it at the beginning.
I'm getting hit by a bus.
It took me 3 watches to notice this, but I think Renee got to like her spot where she was supposed to stop a little too quick, because she like slows down a little bit or something right at that part. Another issue that I have with the original Mean Girls and this one is that the other girls never get punished for the burn book. Like, I understand that like it'd be hard to prove that Regina did it because she's in it. It's not all in Katie's handwriting. I consider myself like an okay person, but I would never take all the blame for something that's not completely my fault. If Katie wanted to be petty, there was definitely at least a way to prove that Karen and Gretchen were involved. But then that kind of traces back to the whole point that she doesn't want to be petty anymore. I forgot to mention this, and I'm trying to keep this as in chronological order to the movie as I can. I thought that the SeatGeek product placement was funny. I wouldn't say I thought it was like hilarious. Like, I thought it gave me a slight chortle. Yes. I watched this movie 3 times, and it took me 3 times to realize the joke at the Mathletes competition that a tie has only happened once before. They were referencing the other movie. Dumbass! Oh my god, there's something I forgot to talk about. So there's a clip where Regina drops an elf lip oil in the sink, and then Katie like grabs it for her. And I remember it being like a super close-up shot where you could very clearly see nothing else but the elf logo. It's literally not. It's literally not. Like, people said that the product placement in this movie was so bad that they'd never buy elf makeup again. What? It's literally not that bad. There was a line from Regina that I thought was very out of character for her. And you know, maybe it could have been, now that I'm thinking about it, like, it could have been because of pain meds affecting her brain. But she says,
People say that I'm a bitch, but you know what they would call me if I was a boy? Strong. Reginald. That's what my mom was gonna name me if I was a boy, so.
Like, that just doesn't seem like a very Regina line to say. But now that I'm thinking about it, it could have been pain meds messing with her brain, because, you know, she got hit by a bus. Renee Rapp, you are mother. I am in love with you, but I am also upset with you. Renee said in an interview that on a gayness scale of 1 to 10, Regina George in this version is an 11.
How gay is she? Very. Out of 10, 11. 11.
Where? Did we watch the same movie? Am I watching the same movie that you starred in? Where's the gay? I think the gayest she gets is when she tells Katie,
I like you, but this medicine makes me like everyone.
I think that scene should have ended with a Kagina kiss that obviously didn't go anywhere because Katie gets with Aaron at the end. But then that would have meant a bisexual Katie and a queer Regina. That would have been iconic! Another thing that bothers me in the movie and the movie musical is Katie giving a speech at the Spring Fling Queen. I didn't go to prom, and I don't know if my school even did prom king and queen. I know that you don't give a speech when you win that kind of thing, so it just like, gave me the ick a little bit. I know, like, she lived in Kenya for 16 years, so like, how is she supposed to know? Still, but
What?
I noticed this specifically in the movie musical, that once the principal announced Katie is the winner, he like stepped away from the mic a little bit and then proceeds to go like, well, you don't really need to give a speech. Like, it looked like you were inviting her to give a speech. If I were someone who was trying to read that social cue, oh, he's stepping away from the microphone, I can give a little speech. This could be like an attempt to save my character. You know, in the scenario that everyone hates me, like everyone hated Katie. And this is kind of like a weak note to end on, but I thought Angourie ate in Icy Stars. I thought that was like her best vocal performance in this, in the soundtrack, in this musical movie. I don't want to give this movie a rating because I feel like compared to music, I am very easily impressed. If I want to see a movie, I'm probably going to like it because I'm picky with the movies I want to see, but I'm also very easily impressed. So it's like if I want to see a movie, I'm probably gonna really like it, and it's probably gonna be my favorite movie until I see another movie. So, you know, this was not me trying to bash Mean Girls 2024. This was not me trying to overly praise it, because I understand that everyone has their own opinions.
Every asshole has opinions, but it doesn't make them true.
This was just me expressing some opinions I had. I got a comment on my TikTok saying something along the lines of like, people on this app don't know how to properly analyze a movie, and this was kind of an attempt at that, even though it wasn't really analysis. It was kind of more brain rot and simping over Renee Rapp. Anyway, that was my thoughts on the new Mean Girls movie. Let me know if you want to see more movie reviews. I don't know how much of an option that will be, because like I said, I am picky with movies, pickier than I am with music, so I don't know. Just let me know if you liked this video by liking it, comment down below. I had to burp. Hit subscribe, hit the bell icon, share with your friends, all that crazy, wacky, weird, amazing, fun stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I never know how to end these things.